Hey everyone, we are back. Welcome to another live. So, whether you're catching this now or watching this later, I'm so glad you're here. I'm Alfyn. I'm a local realtor with the Reyes team and JMG Real Estate. And today we got someone super special with me. Um, your go to for creative financing, Jessica with Guild Mortgage. So, yay!
Hi everyone, how are you?
Awesome. So, very excited to be here with you.
Thank you
So,
for having
Jess,
me.
before we dive in into anything finance, let's warm it up a little bit. So,
hmm
what's something fun or random you've been loving lately? It could be a show, could be a drink, hack. What's a
Hmm.
scoop?
What have I been loving? Oh, there's this new show called Sirens on Netflix, and I still don't
Silence.
know what's going on, and I think that's why I like it. So it's giving me, what is it, White Lotus vibes, if anyone's ever watched that.
What? What is it about?
It's Well, I'll try and explain to you as much as I can understand so far. It's pretty much
Siren.
like it's it's not about mermaids, but
Oh,
which
I was
is
thinking that. I was like,
I thought
what?
so too at first. I kept like scrolling through Netflix and I was like looking at it for the longest time, but I thought it was about mermaids. And then I saw someone post about it on TikTok and they were like, it's not about mermaids at all. So that's when I actually was like, okay, I'll give it a chance. And so far, I'm a little bamboozled, still don't know what's going on, but it's pretty entertaining.
All right, well, let us know how it goes. Would love to check it out. Now it's gonna make me want to go check it up or
I'll
pull it
probably
up.
finish it today or tomorrow, so I'll keep you updated.
Nice. Okay, okay. So I love that. Now let's talk about why you're here.
Yes.
Because y'all, financing a home doesn't have to be boring. So today we're gonna go ahead and talk about DSCR loans. So what are they? Who are they for? And how some of these creative financing options can literally change the game, right? So,
Exactly.
especially for investors. So, Jess, what are your take on that?
So DSCR stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. It's a really long name. All you have to remember is just abbreviation DSCR. Any lender is going to know what you're talking about when you mention it. So it's a perfect loan program for investors. Even if
Mm-hmm.
you're not an investor yet, but you want to become one, this is the perfect program for you. I'll go into kind of the basics and then we can go into more detail on like what the guidelines are and break down like credit score requirements and all that good stuff. But pretty much the way it works is it's not a no doc loan, but it almost is. We don't need to look at what your monthly income is at all, like we typically do for standard mortgage loans, where we have to look and calculate your monthly income and then compare that versus your monthly debts, like car loans, We don't care about that stuff. So I'm not even going to request any pay stubs or W-2s from you. I know that's shocking, but it's true. It's pretty much all based off of how much the home is potentially going to be able to rent out for and how much that mortgage payment will be. So every DSCR loan program is a little different. We have many. Our in-house ones right now are Bayview and Deep Haven, so we pretty much broker these out to these two banks. They are partially internally underwritten by Guild Mortgage, and then we can also broker out to pretty much many other banks. So guidelines are endless, but they're all kind of the same across the board for the most part.
I love that. So you're telling me I can buy a house or buy a property even if I'm self-employed, don't have perfect income on paper, or just want to keep my personal finances out. Is that right?
Yeah, no, this is exactly. I mean, this is perfect for business owners who, I mean, let's be honest, write offs, we all do them. We don't want to pay too much taxes at the end of the year because why would we? So, a lot of self employed people don't qualify for standard financing because they have a lot of write offs on their tax returns, right? Whether they want to or not, it just is the reality of things. And for standard mortgage financing, if we're talking about a government loan like FHA or conventional VA or USDA, we do have to take into account the leftover income after write off. So, if you made 20 grand, but you wrote off 10 grand, I can only stretch that 10 grand over 12 months. So you can imagine how that can be really difficult for a self-employed person to really qualify for a primary residence or even an investment property. So if you're self-employed, but the income isn't showing on paper, we can go with the DSCR loan program so you can go around the income issue.
Perfect. So, Jess, who would you say is the ideal type of person for this DSCR loans?
So even though this is a first time home buyer, sorry, even though this program does allow first time home buyers, I do think the prime candidate for this kind of loan is a person who probably already has their primary residence and is ready to delve into investing or is already an investor. Just because, mostly because it does require a slightly larger down payment compared to your standard financing programs. Typically with a standard finance loan like FHA, any government loan, we would require anywhere between a 3 to 5% down payment. With these
Mhm.
type of loans, you will be required about 20% to start off with.
Gotcha. Okay, well, that's still great. It's still a great way to get in. So basically, people grinding every day to build wealth and don't always fit in that traditional box per se. So
Exactly.
awesome. And let's talk real life. Can you share an example
Yeah.
of someone who used a DSCR loan or creative finance and made it work?
Yeah, I have a few actually. Um, Most of the people I've worked with that do DSCR loans have already dipped their toes into investing. So they're very familiar with the programs. It's a pretty smooth process. There is no limit on the amount of properties you can have. So the last investor I worked with that I did a DSCR loan with, um, very smooth process. We would just have to make sure the key with DSCR is make sure you're choosing the right home. That's where I struggled with my investor for the most part. It was
Mm.
finding the right home that fits into this DSCR loan program. Because you have to keep in mind that the reason we're not looking at your income documents is because all we want to do is make sure that the rents in that area are enough to cover that mortgage payment that you'll have for this loan. If they are, then you're solid. So it's really important for you to try and look for a home that's in a neighborhood that is probably predominantly renter,
Mm.
or neighborhoods where you can rent out the property for enough where it still compares to that mortgage payment. Right now, interest rates for these programs are anywhere between high sixes to low sevens. So they're pretty comparable to standard financing. So I mean, let's say we're talking about a $300,000 loan, your mortgage payment is probably going to be like, I don't know, close to 2 grand with taxes and insurance taken into consideration, not including a future HOA if it does have an HOA. So you would just have to make sure that home can rent out for that amount.
Nice. I love that. Okay, perfect. So let's say, what about someone that's just starting out?
Mhm.
Any creative financing tips for a first time like investor?
Yeah. So if you're a first time investor, these programs will allow financing, which it's not common with all DSCR loan programs. Most of them want you to be a recurring buyer, meaning you've already had the experience of being a homeowner. Maybe you started off with rental properties to begin with, and then they feel more comfortable moving forward with you. But thankfully, we have programs that will allow you to get into this type of loan as a first time home buyer. Now, if you are thinking, for example, you want to buy a duplex, but you actually want to live in one of those units, at that point, we would delve away from the DSCR just because DSCR is strictly non owner occupied. It's strictly an investment loan program, right? So, investment would be anything that is going to be rented out where you're going to be receiving income for, right? So, if you're actually planning on living in one of the units, it's still a great idea because now you don't have to do the DSCR loan where you have to put a 20 or larger down payment.
True.
Now you can finance it as a primary residence and only put down the minimum requirement between 3 to 5%. So,
That's awesome. There's just so many ways, options, depending on your situations. I love that. And I love
mhm,
that we're talking about this because I know, we come across a lot of investors or people that want to get additional properties. This would be another great way to go about it. People like
mhm,
doing Airbnbs, rentals, and all this stuff would be
exactly.
great for it. So I love
Yeah.
that.
And
So,
think about it, you wouldn't have a mortgage payment because you're not paying that.
it's
Your
getting,
renter
yep,
is. So
yep.
now
So you're
you
building
have an
equity.
exactly. You have an appreciating home, which matter of fact, homes do appreciate for the most part. Very rarely do we have occasions where home prices dip too far. So
Oh, yeah.
you're building yourself up for the long run. It's not
Mhm.
investing is not an instant gratification thing at all.
Yeah,
It's
it's
more of you're planning for the future for retirement. You want to set yourself up for success. Go ahead and get yourself a few investment properties.
perfect. So, Jess, if someone's watching right now or later
Mhm.
and they're thinking, okay, I want to explore this, what would be the first step?
So the first step would be to talk to your trusted lender so that they can pretty much the way I would work is I'd get you in here in the office so we can chat. I'll get a better feel of your situation, your goals, really what you want to get out of this to make sure that I understand what kind of loan program is going to be the best choice for you and your goals, right? So during that
Mm,
first consultation, we'll get a good feel for your goals and then we'll get a quick application. The application part is we need that in order to figure out whether you meet all of the requirements. At that point, I'll just do the rest is up to me, really. I'll start looking into we have many, every single different DSCR loan program out there to figure out which one's giving you the best interest rate, asking you for the least amount of down payment. I mean, you name it, we'll pretty much pick the best program and then you can decide if that makes sense for you. And we'll just proceed with underwriting it, get you into contract. That's the exciting part.
yay! So, no pressure, right? It isn't
Mm-mm.
scary. You must commit now, kind of thing. So, I love
Oh
that.
no. No, you can always tell me, you know what, Jess, it's not a good idea right now, and I'll just archive your information. Bright side, you never have to start from scratch again. The financing process can be a little tedious, but if you do get that started from the get go, that loan officer is going to have your information for a few years. So you'll never have to start all over again.
Perfect. All
Yeah.
right. Well, fam, I hope you got some great gems during this live, whether you're investing for the first time or just want to explore, different paths to homeownership, DSCR loans, and creative finance can definitely open some doors, like literally.
Oh, yeah.
So, Jess, for anyone that's watching, where can they reach out to you or message you if they have any questions or concerns?
Yeah, so you can easily reach me at my cell phone. I have that thing with me all the time. My cell phone number is 530-414-5371. I'm also always at the office, so you can try me there. And that number is 775-229-4175. And I'm sure Alfyn will help me get my socials on here so you guys can also follow me and DM me if you have any questions.
Yeah, leave a comment, or even, if you're thinking of anyone that is, this could be the right fit for them, go ahead and tag them. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments. I'm sure Jess will see it and comment right away as well. And also, don't forget to text home, HOME, to 775-544-5011 to get started and definitely explore options with me as well. And I got you. So, everyone, thank you so much for watching. And Jess, thank you for your time. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you so much. And yeah, stay tuned for more videos to come.
See you guys.